this morning after months of saying different things about abortion. The Trump campaign claims it is carefully crafting new messaging. Now, on Tuesday, Trump surprised his own campaign when he promised to make a statement on abortion next week. Of course, people who followed him for years know he has often promised to release something he never does, his tax returns, for instance. Over the last several months, Trump has seemed to test different messages on abortion, hinting he would support a 15-week ban, other times being more vague. CNN's Elena Treen is with us now. So, what exactly is the Trump campaign doing now?
Right. Well, John, it's really interesting because this is something that Donald Trump has struggled with for over a year and throughout his time on the campaign trail. And it's an issue that, of course, Donald Trump and his campaign recognize is going to be a top vulnerability for both him and Republicans overall as they look forward to November. And you're totally right. Donald Trump hasn't been very clear on what his position is. He's really tried to have it both ways and toe the line. To some people, he says, look, I'm taking credit for the overturning of Roe versus Wade. It wouldn't have happened without me stacking the Supreme Court with 3 conservative justices. But then in other times, he publicly and privately acknowledges that the issue is a political loser, especially in a general election. And that's why we've really seen this waffling from him over the past several months. Now, my conversations with Donald Trump's team is that over that time period, they had been quietly working behind the scenes, his policy team, to craft some sort of policy on it. However, they hadn't really had any plans to roll that out anytime soon. And that's why when Donald Trump said earlier this week that he was going to be making a statement on abortion next week, it did catch some of his team off guard. Take a listen to how he's been putting it.
Pretty soon, I'm going to be making a decision. And I would like to see if we could do that at all, Howie. I would like to see if we could make both sides happy.
Mr. President, do you support the 6-week abortion ban that the Florida Supreme Court just upheld?
Now, John, part of the reason that that statement just there from Donald Trump did catch some of his advisors off guard is because for a while, especially during the primary, he had been receiving Graham, Marjorie Dannenfelser, the president of Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life, all of them pressuring him to clarify his position on abortion. However, once he became the Republican nominee and secured enough delegates for that, his team recognized there is some sort of vulnerability there. Why don't you just keep continuing to be vague on this issue? However, they also recognize that he can't avoid it forever, and it's probably better to come out sooner with that specific language rather than later.
We'll see. We'll see if they follow through 1 week from now. In the meantime, who is he listening to? Who is advising him on this subject?
So there's a couple people, and I mentioned Kellyanne Conway, his former aide. They actually had dinner recently at Mar-a-Lago on the patio of Donald Trump's resort, and they discussed it there. She's really been encouraging him to take a stance on a specific threshold, a specific amount of weeks for when abortion should no longer be allowed. And that's why you're sort of hearing him run out these ideas, maybe 15 weeks, maybe 16 weeks. He's also been talking to Lindsey Graham. I spoke with the senator yesterday over the phone, and he was telling me, look, Donald Trump wants to reach a consensus. He wants both sides to be happy. And he argues, Lindsey Graham argues, that that is around 15 or 16 weeks. He's also been talking to a lot of pro-life leaders, anti-abortion groups, people like Ralph Reed, one of his close friends who heads up a evangelical organization. A lot of these people, again, who helped get him elected in 2016. Remember, this was a key issue in 2016 that helped Donald Trump make it into the White House. These are the people who are saying, you need to clarify this. But again, there's also his advisors internally who are telling him, you need to be careful with this issue because it is such a vulnerable issue. John?
And again, what he says could put him at odds with the 6-week ban in Florida that he will get to vote on next November. Thank you so much for being with us, Elena Treen.